Colombia is one of the world's most vulnerable countries to climate change. Would you mind just briefly describing what some of those threats are?
Yes, Colombia, due to its geography and its geographical location within the world, is extremely vulnerable to several hydrometeorological events like La Niña. The last La Niña phenomenon between 2010 and 2012 resulted in a huge cost to the economy. The economy is still recovering from the amount of flooding that resulted. It's a very mountainous country, and so a lot of the roads and over 2 million people were affected by these floods in La Niña. So that's just a small example of what could happen if climate change takes hold and becomes, ever more strong in that sense.
And Colombia is being very proactive when it comes to climate change. There's a program, would you mind describing what Cisclima is all about?
Yes, Colombia, and unfortunately, due to these recent events, a lot of political support was given to strengthening a whole institutional network that is called Cisclima, that is comprised of several of the ministries and other entities like the National Planning Department. They have several committees to undertake mitigation activities, implement adaptation plans, and also seek sufficient resources in order to finance all of the impacts of climate change.
And what is the country doing to actually reduce its own emissions?
Colombia has formulated a very ambitious low-carbon development strategy, which is actually a cross-sectoral approach. It involves several of the sectors and other ministries. And once it formulated this strategy, it has developed 4 sectoral action plans in areas such as mining, waste, housing and infrastructure, and different other initiatives in this respect. So it's actually implementing nationally appropriate mitigation actions and has received financing in a very important amount in order to implement these sectoral action plans to mitigate emissions.
And despite its high vulnerability to climate change, Colombia obviously does not produce a substantial amount of carbon dioxide emissions compared with other countries. What is Colombia doing to try to push the climate change negotiations forward at the global level?
Yes, you're right. Colombia only contributes 0.3% to the world's CO2 and greenhouse gas emissions. So, however, because of our vulnerability and also our high environmental leadership, we have been very active. We are the chair of the ILAC group, which is an association of independent Latin American countries which seek a very progressive and ambitious outcome to the COPs, both in Lima and in France. And we hope to obtain legally binding agreements that will be subscribed by all parties. So within that role, we have been very progressive. We also are very active in the Green Climate Fund, as well as here in the GEF, really trying to push forward ambitious and innovative climate change projects and trying to leverage sufficient resources to undertake that task.